So good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Clarity for Show platform. So today we are going to discuss the second day, that is 27th April 2026 for the circular part. And right now we are covering the January month. So right now I'm covering the January month. So just 27th April में क्या-क्या circulars important है? Let's start to have a discussion. I've already made you understand about these things and everything. Right? So directly I'm coming to the point. So right now I'm in the portion of, I have divided the regulatory framework and risk management in the three segment. I have divided the all January month circulars, right? So right now I was discussing about the banking and NBFC supervision. जिसमें today I will discuss about Supervisory Data Quality Index, RBI CRR SLR Amendment Directions 2026, right? So only this two, that is sDQI, ठीक है, and RBI CRR SLR Amendment Direction 2026. Only two circulars we will be discussing on the day, that is 27th April for the January month. I hope it is clear to everyone. So let's directly jump into it to understand the concept. Okay, so let's start now. Just a minute, I'm coming to the point. It's part B. Wait. So we are at the today's discussion of the circulars. That is, banks supervisory data quality index score improves in September 2025 quarter given by RBI. So this is in the news. Bank supervisory data quality index score improves in September 2025 quarter given by RBI. So just let me discuss about this key things first. The supervisory data quality index sDQI is a strategic tool, right, used by the RBI to evaluate the integrity of the data reported by banks. What is the integrity of the data that is given by the banks? Whether the data provides the correct information and the incorrect information. What is the efficiency of the data that the banks is giving to the RBI, right? So since the RBI relies on this data, because RBI will relies on, and through this the RBI will compute this money supply, that is M into M naught, and whatever the money multiplier is shown by the bank, RBI is accepting it, whether that money multiplier data is correct or not, right, and it is efficient or not. How RBI will think? Because through this word only, through this the factor only, money multiplier, money supply of the RBI, that is this graph, is completely depending. It is completely depending, right? This MS money supply is completely depending. Money supply, sorry, let me show the graph again. This is money demanded. I'm really sorry. This is money supply graph is depending upon it. Is it clear? This is so how RBI will think about this formula, MS equal to M into M naught. So this is the quality assurance. If the incorrect data will be getting provided, the money supply of RBI will be getting impacted, right? So what RBI has introduced, the Supervisory Data Quality Index, that is sDQI, is a strategic tool used by the RBI to evaluate the integrity of the data reported by banks, since the bank relies on the data for off-site surveillance and policy making. Okay, the sDQI acts as a health check. Okay, it's obviously it's like a reports that. So for example, you can think about, if we want to understand how our organs is working or not. So for that we have a full body checkup, the blood test that we are having. Similarly, this tool is for that kind of a thing for RBI. Works like that. That is health check for the bank's reporting system. Whatever the banks is reporting, their NPA accounts and whatever. So there are four pillars, right? Because obviously it is a tool, and for what objective this tool has been established by RBI, strategic tool. The index measures the performance across four critical dimensions to ensure the data is fit for the supervisory purpose or not. First is completeness, right? That is 96.1. Ensures no data fields or records are missing. Currently the strongest performing area. It is currently the completeness is the strongest performing area. Timeliness, okay, timeliness, that is timeliness is 93.5. Measures if the returns are submitted within the prescribed regulatory deadlines, right? It will be measured if the returns are submitted with the prescribed regulatory deadlines. Third is accuracy. It is 86.8. It is telling about. Okay, which checks if the data reflects the true financial positions without error or not. And fourth is consistency. That is 86.4, which is ensures the data points remain uniform across different regulatory returns. Example, balance sheet versus the PSL returns. PSL means private sector lending returns that the bank is giving, setting up PSL targets. The RBI setting the PSL targets for different category of banks, whether the returns is happening or not in that. So consistency is getting to change over here. So just there is a performance analysis for the month of September 2025, and RBI have shown in the month of January circular this, right? So let us see the detail information about the bank group performance. So let's check now. So it is telling about the bank group performance, the bank group June 2025 score with September 2025 score and the trend. That is small finance bank, public sector bank, private sector bank, foreign bank, and average all scheduled commercial bank. Why only scheduled commercial bank? This is a question to you. Please answer. Right? Because the scheduled commercial bank is one of the bank, like DSIB आप जानते हो, domestically systematically bank, right? Why this DSIB क्या होता है? DSIB are the banks, if they will fail, right, Indian economy will fail. That is SBI, HDFC, and ICICI, right? So these banks are very, this bank must perform, right? And the NPA account for this bank should be very much less. Is it clear? So any bank, whether it's related to those, all scheduled commercial banks, foreign banks, private bank, public bank, and small finance banks have given the criteria. But the more context it is, if the scheduled commercial bank will be failing, right, then the economy will be in danger. Is it clear? Just a small static inference I have told you while discussing it. So just read it. Small finance bank तो किसके अंदर आता है? In the category of differential bank. ठीक है? Public sector, private sector bank, both comes under the category of scheduled commercial bank. Foreign banks, आपको पता है ये कैसे होता है? On the basis of reciprocal basis. The concept of foreign banks means if HSBC wants to do business in India, so they should allow the SBI to also do the business in USA. Suppose अगर ये USA की बैंक है HSBC, suppose it is, right? So if they want to do the business in India, तो SBI को भी they need to do the business in USA. Reciprocal basis पे foreign banks has given the license from RBI under Banking Regulation Act of 1949. ठीक है? तो try to understand this kind of concept. तो पहले जून में 2025 स्कोर क्या था, अब सितंबर 2025 स्कोर क्या है? 90.7 and it is 91.5. देखो प्रीलिम्स के लिए ना स्टैटिक डेटा इज वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंट. तो बार बार पढ़ो, एक बार में ये मग नहीं होगा. बार बार प्लीज वॉच माय वीडियोस 2x 3x. 3x तो नहीं होता, बट इन टेलीग्राम इफ इट इज अपलोडेड इट कैन बी 3x, राइट? बट 1.5 2x में रेगुलर सुनो, right? Because it is some kind of a concept which is important for your understanding. Then public sector bank, it is 19.0, it is 91.1. Private sector bank, it is 90.0, it is 90.6. Foreign banks, it is 89.7, it is 90.4. Average all scheduled commercial bank, it is telling about 89.9 and 90.7. So you can check the sDQI recent data. So who is the highest performance over here, right? Small finance bank, significant gain, improving, crossed good thresholds. So overall improvement is there in this sDQI thing. So just let me show you the, okay, just let me just make a glimpse of it. So try to understand the data over here, the score distribution and interpretation over here, what it is telling about. The RBI categorizes banks based on their score to determine the level of supervision and intervention required. 90% and above is good, which means the majority of scheduled commercial bank now fall into this category. 80% and 90% acceptable. Most remaining banks occupy this bracket. Below 80%, what it is, needs improvement, and the major concern, notably, as of September 2025, no scheduled commercial bank scored below 80%, indicating a high baseline of data reliability across the industry. Is it clear? Now try to understand the key takeaway. Just please have the key takeaway over here. The key takeaway, what it is telling about, right? The shift to good. The industry average has successfully migrated from acceptable 18.9 to the good category, that is 90.7 in just one quarter. Focus area. While banks excel at submitting data on time and in full completeness and timeliness, okay? there is a still, why I have a problem in pronouncing, because some of the things, there's a leanness and competitiveness, right? I am from North and especially Bihar, so I have a problem in pronouncing some of the words, right? Don't mind it. There is a still room for improvement in accuracy and consistency, which remain in the mid 80s range. Supervisory efficiency. High sDQI scores allow the RBI to reduce manual data verifications, enabling faster response times to emerging financial risk. I hope it is clear to everyone. Now, I hope the third circular, that is in the terms of the division that I have told you, is clear to everyone. Now let's go to the another circular, which is the fourth circular, which is telling about your monetary policy tools reserve, right? Monetary policy tools में quantitative tools में the reserves, that is RDR की दो part होती है, reserve deposit ratio. It is having two part, that is one is CRR and SLR, right? Because if the RDR bank can't put reserve deposit ratio equal to zero. Why? If bank will do it zero, in the case of bank run, bank won't be able to return the deposit amount of the households. Are you getting my point? जो depositors आ रहे हैं बैंक में जमा कर रहे हैं, उसकी बैंक रन के केस में most of the banks won't be able to return the money. So the RBI has introduced a concept of RDR which can't be equal to zero, and RDR has two forms, that is cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio, right? CRR क्या होता है? Percentage of NDTL the bank has to keep. और NDTL क्या होता है? I have just explained in the MCQ series of finance. Just take it. This is net demand time liability. Net का मतलब क्या होता है? Gross minus interbank deposit. Everything I have explained in my RBI full credit close. ठीक है? और SLR क्या होता है? It is also the percentage of NDTL, right? The banks need to keep. ठीक है? But it is more liquid asset. Liquid asset के फॉर्म में बैंक के पास है, जैसे कि गोल्ड. ठीक है? The government securities that can be बहुत जल्दी वो लिक्विडेट, मतलब उसकी कैश आप जल्दी करा सकते, राइट? थिंक अबाउट इट, द करेंसी नोट्स यू आर हैविंग, वो सबसे ज्यादा लिक्विडिटी होता है. क्यों? क्योंकि ये सब हाईएस्ट लिक्विडिटी है. गोल्ड, उसके बाद गोल्ड तुरंत मार्केट में बिक जाएगा, बट द मनी यू आर हैविंग इन योर सेविंग्स अकाउंट, करंट अकाउंट स्पेशली, या फिक्स डिपॉजिट, आपको उसको तोड़वाना पड़ेगा. एंड करंट अकाउंट में भी आपको एटीएम इंसर्ट करके पैसा निकालना पड़ेगा. आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? लिक्विडिटी मींस हाउ फास्ट, by the method liquidity method, how fast you can exchange the goods and services. means आप जैसे दुकान में गए, आपको तुरंत सामान मिल गया, तो आप एटीएम वगैरह भी, कार्ड भी अगर कैरी करते हो तो उसमें भी आपको पिन प्रेस करना पड़ता. बट द गोल्ड, व्हाई गोल्ड इज गेटिंग, एवरीवन, गोल्ड इज अ स्केयर मेटल, और गोल्ड पहले एक्सचेंज रेट के लिए यूज होता था. दैट्स व्हाई दिस इज आल्सो द रीजन गोल्ड को कंसीडर किया जाता है मोस्ट लिक्विडिटी में. गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज आल्सो गेटिंग कंसीडर्ड. तो मतलब समझ लो एसएलआर एक टाइप से रिजर्व ही होता है फॉर बैंक. आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू टेल यू इन डिटेल for these circulars. Just I'm giving you the glimpse how to think about anything. The RBI of India issued what? CRR SLR amendment direction. देखो RBI influence कर सकता है. RBI can't control bank. RBI can't tell bank. ठीक है? RBI is not telling bank. RBI can influence. Please tell me. There is a word. इसलिए amendment use होता है. Right? समझ में? In my course you can understand what I'm trying to say. ठीक है? So align old liquidity rules with new banking laws, 2025 amendments, remove ambiguities in reporting and definitions, standardize framework across all entities. These changes are widely reported as technical but important regulatory alignment. ठीक है? तो key new findings क्या? There is no change in CRR and SLR rates. ठीक है? Given by amendment has been done by RBI. This is most important exam fact that RBI did not change the CRR and SLR percentage. Changes are procedural and clarificatory, right? If RBI does that, amendment अगर RBI बोलता है, तो RBI have to give this clarifications and procedural requirement why they are doing this. ठीक है? So now, just the data will make you understand more. Just a minute, beta. Yeah. So bank category, cash reserve ratio, and the liquidity statutory liquidity ratios. For scheduled commercial bank, 3%, it is 3% CRR and 18%. And for small finance banks, for regional rural banks, Paytm, urban cooperative banks, central, state and central cooperative banks, for everything right now, in the January circular, what it is telling, SLR is 80%, and the cash reserve ratio, the reserve, the percentage of NDTL they have to mention, right? Both for SLR and in CRR is 3% and 80%. I hope it is clear to everyone. Now we will move towards the questions, right? 16 questions we have discussed, 16 or 17 questions from the first class of 26th April. On 27th April, I'm going to make you understand some more questions. So let's talk about, okay, from the 18th question, 17th question I have discussed in the last class. So let's talk about the questions now, right? So first is MCQ based on above notification. 18th question. The Supervisory Data Quality Index sDQI evaluates the quality of regulatory data submitted by banks across four critical pillars. Which of the following correctly identifies all pillars for the sDQI framework? What is the correct option? That is B. Just I have told you, completedness, jahan mujhe I am feeling hurdle while pronouncing, timeliness, accuracy, and consistency, right? So this is the correct option. Detailed reasoning I'm not going to tell you because I have explained you the circular. ठीक है, यहाँ पर explanation भी दिया हुआ है. PDF is being provided in our course and Telegram channels for some of the few days. We are providing it at free of cost. You can check it, right? Now, 19. Based on the sDQI scores releases from September 2025, identify the strongest and the weakest performing pillars respectively. So it is देखो, अब इसलिए मैंने बोला data is very much important. तो C, it was strongest क्या था? Completedness, that is 96.1%, and weakest क्या था? Consistency, it was 86.4%. So you can understand, that's why I'm telling you, you more emphasize. 20 question. What it is telling, as per the bank group performance analysis for September 2025, which bank group achieved the highest sDQI score and what was that score? So if you will check, the correct option for D is small finance bank, that is 91.5, and such questions will be surely asked in your RBI paper because they love in prelims to ask the data oriented question, right? Now the 21st question, what they are asking, between June 2025 and September 2025, the industry average sDQI sDQI score for all scheduled commercial banks shifted from 89.9 to 90.7. Which of the following best describes the significance of this movement? Right? The correct option for this is C. The industry average successful transition from acceptable category, that is 89.9, to the good category, that is 90.7 within the single quarter. The explanation is given in the PDF. You can check it. Right? I have already explained the circular. Right? So 22nd question, what it is telling about? 22nd question is telling about match each sDQI pillar with the specific aspects of data quality it measures and identify the correct pairing of the consistency pillar. देखो ऐसे क्वेश्चंस भी आरबीआई में पूछे जाते हैं, तो आप एक बार प्लीज गौर से ऑप्शंस देखो. ऑल द 5 ऑप्शंस प्लीज टिक इट, राइट? डी ऑप्शन इज मोर appropriate. Why? Because if you will check, ensures that the same data point remains uniform when reported across different regulatory returns. Example, balance sheet versus PSL return. PSL returns. Yeah. So I hope you can understand the D option over here is the most appropriate option according to the thing. Okay? Data quality, it measures the identify the correct option. Consistency pillar. Consistency क्या होता है? ठीक है, समझ में आया? So you can understand it. Now, and now the questions related to the RBI CLR SLR amendment directions. 23rd question, what it is telling about, please read it. Which of the following statements correctly distinguishes between the cash reserve ratio and the SLR as clarified under the CRR SLR amendment direction 2026? So what will be? देखो यही होगा. CRR is maintained in cash with the RBI and earns no interest, right? Whereas SLR is maintained by bank itself in the form of cash, gold or approved securities and can generate returns on the securities held. मैंने बता रखा है, right? RBI is telling bank to keep the reserve because अगर RDR 0 होगी तो in the case of bank run, what will do? And trust फिर public का खत्म होगा from the banking. And if the question of sovereign will come, right, then RBI has to introduce. So RBI is giving some amendments regarding to the percentage of NDTL they have to meet. But RBI will not give any interest for maintaining that reserve. इसलिए CRR में there is no interest bank is earning from RBI point of view. आपको मानना है and you have to amend it, right? Why? Because RBI के पास RBI Act 1934 की पावर है and इसी पावर के अंदर RBI को लाइसेंस देने की पावर मिलती है. टू किसको? जो कंपनी क्या बनना चाहता है? बैंक बनना चाहता है. अगर कोई कंपनी जैसे HDFC एक कंपनी है, वो अपने आगे बैंक लगाना चाहता है, right? So they have to get a license under RBI Act of 1934 और लाइसेंस का नाम क्या है? लाइसेंस की एक्ट का नाम क्या है? बैंकिंग रेगुलेशन एक्ट ऑफ 1949. ये अगर कोई कंपनी बैंक बनना चाहता है तो पहले तो वो कंपनीज एक्ट ऑफ 2013 में रजिस्टर्ड होगा, राइट? एंड इफ दे वांट टू बी अ बैंक, तो आरबीआई से ही लाइसेंस मिलेगा। और क्या लाइसेंस मिलेगा? ऑफ बैंकिंग रेगुलेशन एक्ट ऑफ 1949, आरबीआई एक्ट 1934 के अंदर आरबीआई को ये पावर मिलता है। इसलिए आरबीआई जो भी अमेंडमेंट बताएगा रिलेटिंग टू रिजर्व, रिलेटिंग टू लिक्विडिटी एडजस्टमेंट फैसिलिटी, दैट इज रेपो, एमएसएफ, एसडीएफ, समझ में आ रहा है मैं क्या बोलने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ? एवरी बैंक हैज टू मेंटेन दैट, राइट? व्हाई बिकॉज आरबीआई विल गिव द लाइसेंस ना, दैट्स व्हाई। आरबीआई इज नॉट फोर्सिंग बैंक, समझो ये वर्ड को, फोर्स नहीं कर रहा है, अमेंडमेंट कर सकता है। दे कैन टेल बैंक, दे कैन गिव द सजेशन, बट बैंक विल फॉलो बिकॉज दे हैव टेकन द लाइसेंस फ्रॉम दैट। इज इट क्लियर? इज इट क्लियर? तो आई होप इट इज क्लियर। तो बी ऑप्शन इज क्लियर टू एवरीवन। देखो मैंने ये बहुत सारी चीजें डिटेल्स में with your मतलब क्वालिटी ऑफ द कंटेंट दैट आई हैव गिवन, तो इसमें कोई चेंज नहीं था। 3% 18% था, इसलिए नो मोर एमसीक्यू क्वेश्चन। So thank you so much. Keep learning. Bye. Take care. This was all for this news, and we will discuss this again in the next slide. Thank you so much.